today. Let's talk about today.
If you're at a national state level, you have to run non-sales, wholesale.
Is like 9,000.
The only mistake I made, I didn't put her right in the registration booth.
Just this ever-evolving story.
Welcome back to Let's Grow Pulling. I'm your host, Logan Stevens. You know, it feels really good to be back on here. I've been out for a couple weeks. Jason's been manning this mostly. And now I'm back in the seat. And I think we're going to have a really good night tonight. We've got some big things coming on tonight. We're bringing on Ken Summers, promoter and kind of the head honcho of the Buckner tractor pull this weekend. And then we're also bringing on a 3.0 diesel truck puller, Skyler Leaper, later this evening. And we're going to talk to him a little bit on how his season's going and what has gone into where he sets currently number one in Outlaw points. So until we get to about the 7:45 time when we're going to bring Ken Summers on with Buckner, let's just have a little bit of a roundtable discussion on what went on this weekend. If you guys have anything you'd like to chime in on the comments, go ahead and hear that. But let's just talk some stuff with what went on this weekend at Wasion. It was the last big hook for the NTPA Grand National Minis. They went out, put on a great show, had a huge class of tractors out there. Tractor counts have been up so much this year in the mini class, and it's made that class even more competitive than it's been in any years previous, I believe. So Ken Vinny came out there and out of his back pocket won the hook. Great pass, all around great weekend for a lot of those guys. And that was truly a very critical event for a lot of these competitors, being that this is one of the last, for most of the classes out there, one of the last events going into the Enderley. And they're all fighting for the top 5 in points to get into that great event. So Vinny secured his spot there at the Enderley, and that put Kester back into the leading spot going into the Enderley. So the minis are definitely going to be a great class to watch. But then again, there's a whole bunch of other great classes, and one of which I have my eyes set on coming up here this weekend. They have one more weekend, 2 more hooks yet to go before the Enderley, is the Super Farm class. Now, some of you may wonder, is it really the most entertaining? And even though they don't have the horsepower like some of the pro stocks do, they can still put on a great show, and they're very competitive with each other. All in all, I believe that the Super Farm class is one of the most technical classes as a driver, because you have to be on your setup and you cannot miss it because you don't have the horsepower to run away with it. So just looking at the Super Farm points series going into the Enderley, there's a tight race there at the top 3, but those guys are safe, so to speak, as long as they make a pass. You got to look at the 4, 5, 6, 7 positions, which at the Super Farm, that's a very tight race with only about 5 points separating 4th through 7th. So any one of those guys can come out this weekend at Sandwich and lay down a good pass and lock their spot in. So nothing is quite dead set on how things are going to finally shake out. Another class to look at is definitely the Superstock Diesel 4x4s. One of my favorite classes with that, and they are definitely trying to make this as competitive to get into the Enderly for the rest of the competitors in the class. Just looking at it, the 4th through 7th position trucks are only separated by 3 points heading into the last event here in Sandwich for these guys. So all these guys have got to be on their A games for that. Another one, there's the Pro Stocks. And even though the top 2 or 3 guys are kind of walking away with it, you look down here in the 5th, 6th position where the New Generation Plus tractor and the Green with MV tractor are only separated by 2 points. So the 2 hooks and Sandwich are going to be crucial for a lot of these guys and making sure that they can get that berth into the last hook and the ever-coveted Enderly. So you had Wellington, Ohio last weekend. You had Wauseon and Canton this weekend. And then you got Sandwich next weekend. So all of these events back to back to back, trying to gain these last crucial points on getting into this coveted Enderly. So for those who know, it will be a tight points race. And just like Randy Barker said, they've got to use everything that they can in this Super Farm class. So looking at some other stuff, my weekend consisted of, we went pulling with the Missouri State Tractor Pullers Association, MSTPA, here in Missouri. We debuted a new light mod for this year, and we ran into some small hiccups with it, but nothing we can't get all shook out. So we'll be continuing on our way with that. Chris Kilbarger says the light super stock had some carnage. Yeah, that class has always been try to build the most amount of horsepower in such a small and lightweight class there is. So all of these guys have to push their stuff to that teetering point of too far and not enough to be able to run for these points championships, because it seems to me that just watching the trend over these past couple of years is the tractor counts have just kept going up and going up because on the national circuit, because I think some guys actually believe it's easier to run the national circuit rather than some of the local stuff. So all in all, it's been a very, very exciting weekend with stuff. And I'm excited to see what's coming on with next week. So looking forward into next week, we've got on the Outlaw side of stuff, we've got tonight Huron, South Dakota, which I believe I was actually this afternoon, and that's where Kinsey's at. Just probably finished up filming that for Full Pull Live. Most of these events, if not all of them, will be on Full Pull Live to catch. So definitely something you want to check out with that. You can go back and watch all the replays from all the summer. And then continuing on with the Outlaw circuit, you have Unionville, Missouri this weekend, Buckner, and then after that, they move right into Bedford, Iowa, and Spencer, Iowa on the days leading up to my birthday, and then finishing out their points series about a month later in a couple of their classes in Lufkin, Texas. That's an event that I've always wanted to go down to. Those Texas boys really know how to put on a good event for the pullers. And then as we talked with the NTPA side of stuff, we've got Sandwich, Illinois coming up, and then the Enderly, and that's kind of it besides some regional stuff. So pulling's starting to wind down, but it's not quite over yet. There's still a ton of exciting pulling yet to come. Looking at some other stuff, PPL has got their last national points series today with or this coming weekend with most of their Champions Tour classes, in addition with a couple Excalibur classes, pulling at the track at Holzhauer's, which is where they have come to love and come to hold the Pullers Championship held every May. So another great event that will be held there, another great track that's there. And we're looking to finish out our year strong with our mini program there in Nashville this weekend. Looking towards the point season on the Outlaws, there's a lot of these classes that are coming to a close real quick. Let's just take a modified four-wheel drive truck class, for example. There's only 4 points separating 1 and 2. And those guys still have got 1, 2, 3, 4 more hooks left to go and 4 points separating the top 2 guys. So with that, just one class there off the top of my head, that there is still a very, very tight point race. And that's what makes it exciting, because all these guys want to win, but they also want to see their competitors and compete against them on the highest level. So you'll see these guys go tooth and nail, but if something breaks, they're going to help them like they're their own vehicle. So here coming up soon, we'll have Ken Summers on, and we'll have him talk about the Buckner pull. And we'll just preface that a little bit with it's happening this weekend in Sibley, Missouri. And it's an event that I really would like to go to one of these years, because Ken and they just put on an awesome show up there. They always seem to have a great crowd, and they do so much for the pullers. I feel that an event put on by a puller is really one of the best events to attend, because the puller knows all the minute details that can make or break a great pull for pullers and fans. And then that will be this weekend. It starts at 6, gates open at 3:30. And contrary, it's not Buckner, Missouri, but it's actually in Sibley, Missouri. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but that's where they're holding on to some big horsepower classes this weekend. We're looking at 15 classes there. While we're waiting for Ken to come on, we'll just talk a little bit more about it. It's actually a co-sanctioned event in between Outlaw and MSTPA, and both are bringing a stacked field of classes. Looking at it here, there's some of your classes that are being put on, and you see with these, there's no shortage of horsepower between you have modified tractors, two-wheel drive trucks, big 4-1 pro stocks, and the big 5.0 pros. And even you have some of the littler guys, the light mods from the MSTPA, hot stocks, and some smaller truck classes. So it's a 2-track event, and it will be an event to hit if you are in the area, because they've been doing this for many years, and it's always been a great event from what I've been told. Randy Barker wants to know the dates on Lufkin. Lufkin this year will be October 17th and 18th there in Lufkin. And, well, we're with a treat here tonight. We have what looks to be Sydney here.
Hello.
To tell us about their event that they're putting on this weekend. So, Sydney, how's it going?
It's going good. Dad can tell you the details. I'm just along for the ride. Had to get him set up and going here.
Howdy, boys.
Howdy, Ken. How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. It's always fun to be on here and interview these great pullers. So Let's hear about it. What's going on up there this weekend?
Well, on Saturday, we'll have the Buckner Truck and Tractor Pull at Sibley Orchard, which is a mile and a half north of the one and only stoplight in Buckner, Missouri. And we're going to have some NSTPA classes. We're going to have some Outlaw classes. And we're going to start at about 5 o'clock with a few farm tractors. There's a guy coming from Petersburg, Illinois, young guy, Clayton Hope. And he was out there last year. And so we got a few of those track groomers going to come and have a little fun. And then we'll get not decided how we're going to do the start of it. MSTPA would like maybe to do a couple classes first before the Outlaws. I don't know. We're going to figure that out here this week. But we have 7 classes from MSTPA. We have their hot stock. We have their light pro field tractors. We have their light super stock tractors. We have their 9500 pro field tractors, light mods, 2.6 diesel trucks, and pro stock gas 4-wheel drives. And
So
then,
good lineup there with those guys, and then with
For
the Outlaws.
Yep, for Outlaw classes, we have 2-wheel drive trucks, 4-wheel drive trucks, the 540 light pro stock tractors, the 4-1s, of course, the light super stock tractors, mods, pro stocks, and semis. So it'll be a good lineup.
And that 2-wheel drive class is the super modified 2-wheelers, I believe, correct?
it is, yeah.
Yep. So that's your big high horsepower supercharged 2-wheelers. Then those guys never fail to put on a show. So 2 tracks, MSTPA running on one track, Outlaw on the other, as I would believe. And gates open at 3:30. Pull doesn't start till 6, so you guys get plenty of time to walk around the pits, interview drivers. So what have you guys been working on leading up to this? I saw Sydney's video of the track looking like a wildflower field, and now to see it getting turned into this phenomenal pulling surface. Walk us through a little bit of what goes into that.
Well, I think there was a little more mowing done today, so we're going to move all the bleachers tomorrow, and they're going to cut and rake underneath the bleachers so we have nice grass for everybody to walk on. And then I think they were going to cut the hay off of the track. And then depending on the weather, we're supposed to get some rain this week. Hopefully we'll get some rain so we don't have to put so much water in the track. And we'll get it all groomed up. And, there ain't much happens between 2 and 3 days ahead of it. That's about it, And
Yep.
We got to move some bleachers from the park out, the ones that we borrow from them.
It sneaks up on us quick.
Yeah.
We got Nutrient Ag or Ag Solutions. They're going to do a fish fry for us again for the puller meal. So that's a pretty good deal. So
yeah.
Yep.
So how long have you guys been putting this on for? I know it's been a good long while, but how long?
We were thinking about that the other day. We think 16 years. I would have been in 4th grade, and I'm 22.
Wow.
So whatever the math is on that.
Gosh, that's a long time ago.
13 years? Mom says 13 years, so we might be a little off. But 13 years. This is the first year we had it in the middle of a cornfield, and then it grew bigger than that. So now we've moved it out to where we are now. But it's gone through a lot of changes to be the pull it is now.
So is this your guys' first year out here at Sibley at the Orchard, or did you have that there last year? I recall.
We've been having it at the Sibley Orchard for probably 12 years. We only did 1 year.
Okay.
Field, so we've been out here for a while.
I knew you've been out there. I just didn't know.
Yeah, we've grown bigger than it. We have to park people in the church across the street and the neighbors across the street. So if we get much bigger, I don't know if it'll keep fitting there.
Gonna have to find a new venue out in the middle of a cornfield again. No, so it has always been rumored to me a great event that an event that we'd like to go to one of these years. So hopefully we'll get some stuff lined out, and we'll have a vehicle or two to bring up there one of these years. So let's change gears a little bit. Real quick, how has your guys' season been with the 4-1 class and all that?
It's been a season. We've had a lot of fun. We haven't really been out much this year. I'm at the phase of life. All my friends are getting married, and my friends are getting busier with the big girl job now. So Dad's taking it out probably just as many times as I've been able to go. I got a second place in Mound City, Missouri on Friday night this year, which was probably the best hook I've had this year. I held on to first till the end, and Randy got me, and we were glad he did. So that was a fun night, and that's probably the best we've done this year.
Yeah, you did pretty good at McLeod too. I mean, it was a good hook. It's just she was an early hook.
Yeah.
And yeah, I went to Montgomery City. He was going to pull down there and got rained out. I was trying to defend our title of first place down there. But
your title.
yeah, we got to practice backing out skills down there. That was pretty fun. We was all the way back in there and it rained, so we had to back all the way out. So that was
gosh,
that was pretty entertaining.
That sounds pretty entertaining for sure. So
open class somewhere with a bunch of stuff and got a win the beginning of the year with, was it?
Oh, we went up to Bramer,
Yeah.
yeah.
Fun.
Some blown 2-wheelers up there, but yeah, the what else? Last weekend she weighted up and ran at 10,000 pounds.
Oh wow!
Austin Ritter on his pro stock a little bit, and
that was
it was kind of cool to see how she stacked up against it.
Yep. Well, that's great to hear with that. It sounds like you guys have had a largely successful season without much breakage, which I always count that as a win. So that means a lot less work that you have to do at the end of it. So let's looking back into this. So we're talking all these big classes. How did we get here? What were some of the first classes, and how have these classes changed over the years? Because I know we didn't start out with 15, 16 classes.
Yeah, we started out in Buckner at the cornfield down there. We were pulling with the brush pullers and mile an hour classes, and we wanted to just have a fun tractor pull. So we had that. We invited anybody, and we had the old bush sled. He come down, and we had a few pro stock gas trucks and a whole bunch of diesel pickups, and we pulled 4-wheel drive tractors, and we had a good old time. And then the next year,
I think we went till 3 a.m. that first year.
Take a whole lot of friends in town. Then when we moved out to Sibley Orchard, we went to MSTPA and brush pullers. And then the brush puller organization had a lot of kids in it, and they've all grown up and gone on to bigger and better things. And they don't have near as many hooks as what they used to. So when we went away from brush pullers, we had MSTPA, but then we went to Outlaws and pro pulling. We had all three there, and we did that for several years and had good success at it. Would still like to do it, but the sanctioning fee is kind of expensive. And, but that's where we got to where we're at, and just keep adding a little bit, and we get a lot of good support from the community and all the other families that help put it on. And you don't have to do a whole lot of advertising. Everybody knows when it comes around.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. If PPL or a bigger organization that actually held the Grand National Minis, we would drop our hats and go up there in a heartbeat, because this is close to home for us. We don't have to drive halfway across the country. So that sounds awesome. So I know you talked about the community there a little bit. What all goes into it, kind of behind the scenes? You guys are putting it on, but who else is out there kind of helping you guys with it?
Oh, there's the AAA Disposal, the Holmberg family. They do a lot. The Mershon family, they do a lot. It's us. And then there's lots of other families that help with the parking.
The gate.
Yeah. The concession stands. We've been doing like football clubs and wrestling clubs, and those kind of people have been doing the parking and helping out, and then we write them a check for helping. And
Yep.
the church across the street, they let us park people over there, and they got a shuttle, and they run back and forth, and they do some kind of outreach booth there. And
we did Boy Scouts, I think, for a while.
yeah, we
too,
did Boy Scouts, yeah, and we have a vendor area. We'll have a few vendors set up there for stuff for people to look at.
Yeah, tell us about that. What do you guys got for vendors and food on the grounds for these guys coming out?
This is the first year we're going to have face painting for kids, I think. So that's going to be there. That'll be something fun for the kiddos to do. What else do we have?
There'll be some equipment companies have some booths set up. I think O'Reilly's is going to set something up. I know Blake's going to have some of his skid steer attachments and cattle equipment there.
Yep.
Not sure who all's coming. Like I say, it all start coming together really tomorrow. And the one thing that's kind of cool is there at Buckner, when you come out of Buckner, there's the one bridge that you got to cross to go to where the pole's at. Well, they had it scheduled to be demoed tomorrow, and they have to send everybody around through the country. And we called them up and told them what we had going on. And so Rodmacher, the construction company, they decided they just put it off a week for us. So that was huge for us, for them guys to do that.
Yeah.
That would have been a mess. So we were thankful for that.
Yeah, that's always awesome to see in these smaller communities, people working with each other and getting even small kinks like that can make an event second to none. And so we're talking some stuff. You got face painting for the kids. I really like to see the kids get out, and that's really what makes me happy to see an event grow, is seeing the kids go talk to the drivers and then just go around and have fun at a pole, because unless we keep promoting the small ones, Poland's got nowhere to go. So.
That's why we have these guys coming that will do the pulling about 5 o'clock there. I mean, they're the young guys. That's why we used to do all the brush puller stuff, because there's a lot of young guys there, and there's several young guys in the MSTPA too that keep moving up. There's some guys
and gals,
yeah. And it's pretty cool to see it all. It's Art. What's Art's last name? Art Sims. Sim and his dad have pulled forever, and they started out in the brush pullers. And I think Art's a little older than Sid, maybe
a little younger than me.
And he started out on a John Deere or something, putting down the track, and pro field tractor, and hauls butt down the track. It's really cool.
Yeah, that's always awesome to hear, the little stories like that just make an event. So just looking at some other stuff here. Entries, $20 gets you all in, pit pass and everything, all that. Yep. Open pits, 6 and unders free, and really a ton of time to go and just ask your favorite drivers any questions.
Yeah, it's really cool to be able to go around and check it all out like that. And then Pat Farrell, the guy that owns Sibley Orchard, he's the one that lets us put this thing on out there. And he's the one that has the big yellow tent that does the main concession stand there. And he'll have, I don't know, usually hot dogs, hamburgers, brats. And I don't know what his menu's going to be for sure this year, but he always has something good down there.
Yep.
I was just thinking about this now. You guys have sat here and grown this event. What would it take to get this event to a 2-day event for some of this?
We would like to do that. Unionville's the night before us.
Yeah.
And we would love to have a 2-day event if the calendar would just work with us somewhere, And,
Has it always been this weekend after Labor Day?
It's always I thought it was the second Saturday of September,
and somehow we've got to this weekend.
Somehow, with the way the calendar rolled, we had to go to this Saturday. But it's always been the second Saturday. But and then when Robert started putting their poll on up at Bedford, they were always following us the next weekend. And so as long as everybody rolls together, somewhere along the line, we would like to make it a 2-day event. But, those guys who come far, nice for them to be able to stay in one place.
Yeah. Exactly. That's something we always look forward to, is those 2-day hooks. And just all around makes a good experience for the pullers and for the fans. But even a one-day hook, it's entertaining as all get out because you have all these guys and they're gunning and they're running their best for one night and they got one shot at it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at it from the puller side, what's some stuff that we're doing for them? I know you mentioned the puller meal there, and what's some stuff that they need to know about coming into this weekend?
Just park tight. We'll have guys there helping the park, get everybody as close as we can. If you had two pulling vehicles in your trailer, be sure and speak up. They'll give you a little extra room. If we don't park everybody as close as we can, then we run out of room. And there's a pit gate that's around to the north there a little bit, and that's a lot easier to come in there. They'll direct you around that way. Puller meal, I think we'll probably have it at I think it's usually at 4 each, I think,
usually.
something like that. And it'll be right down there. Party. And if you go away hungry, it's your own fault because they'll have so.
Yeah, that's great to hear with that. And I think it's going to be a really good show for you guys out there. And with 2 tracks, I assume, are you guys having your vehicle out there? Hopefully going to make a run with it?
Yep, that's the plan. We were late jumping on here because we were getting it out of the hauler because we haven't since a week or so whenever we went last. We're pulling it in tonight, and we're going to change the oil, adjust the clutch a little, and we'll be ready to go. Our plan was to get it out and get it worked on so we're not rushing Friday night trying to put the tractor together and be there. So here we are Sunday. We're a little ahead of the game.
Yeah, we're not putting pistons in it this time. There's been times.
Yeah. How far of a trip is it for you guys?
From my parents' house, it's probably 8 minutes, and from my house, it's about 2 minutes. So
wow.
Yeah, I'm walking distance if I needed to be.
So if you guys weren't driving a 4.1 diesel pro or even a diesel class in general, what class would you guys like to jump into?
I want a pro stock.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. We like the smoke, but I'm a little intrigued with the turbines on some of the mods.
Yeah.
I think pretty cool,
They're easy to work on.
Yeah, that's probably above my pay grade, but we'll have our pro stock should be done. Hopefully we'll be pulling it next year if things go right. We'll see. And
so you guys are building a pro stock.
Yeah.
Is it a 10K Pro or is it a 5.0 Pro?
It'd be a 5.0 Pro. Yeah.
And it's hard to tell the difference between those. They both blow nice black smoke and they build crazy amounts of horsepower. So
yeah, Sid's tractor, if everything goes right, we'll change the charger and the pump on it, and we'll run both of them that way.
Run both of them as a 5.0. So what is there much of a difference between a 4.1 and a 5.0 besides the amount of fuel you're giving it and the turbo?
Yeah, mainly just the pump and the charger. And there's 40 cubes, but I don't think the 40 cubes will make a whole lot of difference,
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the goal, to be fun to pull against each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little rivalry going on there.
Yeah.
So what do you guys have anything else looking at for the poll this weekend? Anything exciting?
If anybody wants to come down after Unionville, the lights will be on and people can park and get in there. We'll have a few trucks pulled in there to where they can kind of see where to go. And if they're not quite right, we can change them around Saturday morning, And
so the gates will be open coming in Friday night into it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. We'll have lights on, people can see.
Yep.
Yeah.
Looking at some pictures from your guys' event, it's huge crowd. Are most of those just local community people, or are you seeing people come in from further distances away?
We have people come from quite a ways away. There'll be people come from the Kansas side. Missouri State has a really big local following. and so they come from all over. There's pullers from Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska with them, and then
and I mean we're a small town, but we really are only 30 minutes from Kansas City, so we get all sorts of people that come out from that way. And we talked to some last time that, you know, they heard it on the radio and they came, and so it's cool to get the people that are in the city that make the trip out.
That was going to be my next question. Being only 30 minutes from Kansas City, that's just a hop, skip, and a jump down the road. So, folks, this is going to be a really good event. If you're just looking for a Saturday night under the lights, it's going to be great weather too, might I add, from the looks of it. So,
Yeah. Hoodie or your winter coat. I get cold, so.
Yeah. Well, that's something I've always seen. Like, I know last year or 2 years ago, you guys ran into some rain up there, and you guys are out there drying it off with a helicopter. So no shortage of effort being put into it.
Yeah, you know, that was a really fun year. It stunk, it got rained out, but everybody was there, and we all hung out, you know, and then the sun come out the next morning, and we just had a Missouri State hook, and then they accommodated any classes that, if anybody that stayed there. And
we pulled 4-1s that we pulled that year.
It was a really good track, and it was a lot of fun. I don't want it to rain out again and do that, but we definitely made the best out of it, you know.
Ended up being a Sunday noon or 1 hook, I think, so it worked.
Yeah, that's something I wish a little bit more events would have lined out, would be a rain event or a rain date for something, because you drive all this way and then it stinks when it gets rained out. What's it like trying to coordinate between Outlaw and MSTPA with getting both sanctioning events into one event?
Oh, they've run into a little deal with the insurance this year that they can't pull side by side. We're trying to something out maybe tomorrow to where we can buy some other insurance or something. But it's really cool to watch Missouri State on one side and then Outlaws on the other side, because it keeps the crowd going, you know, and there's certain people that come to watch the MSTPA and then they get a bonus to watch the Outlaws, and there's people that come to watch the Outlaws that get the bonus of the MSTPA. And that way there's something going down the track all the time, you know, and we'll get started right at 6 and hopefully, you know, we'll be done by 10:30 or 11 o'clock, you know, at the very latest. Hopefully we'll be done by 10:30 if we don't have any arrows. Run a bunch of iron down through there, and it's really nice by, you know, having both Outlaws and MSTPA there, because man, you get this late in the season, there's a lot of breakage, you know, and so this way we're assured we're going to have a lot of iron for a good show. And
how many hooks have you guys had in years past, and how many are you looking at proposed for this year?
My guess is we'll have probably 100, maybe, you know, we've done as much as 130, you know, and 130, 140. And, but that's really probably too, we run out of parking spots, you know, so
I don't know. I mean, back when we started, when you could pull the same tractor 3 or 4 times, we probably had triple that. Yeah. It felt like.
Yeah. This will be a lot of really good stuff for people to watch, you know, and at some point it'd be fun to have the big pros there, you know. We keep razzing Brad out there in Nashville. He needs to switch his date off of Buckner, because not only do we want those guys to come, but we really enjoy going and pulling out there. So we can't go and pull there and have one here and expect those guys to come too, you know. So.
Well, we'll try to steal the minis while you're at it, because
love to do that.
We're wanting to. That would be definitely something fun. So, what are we expecting? Are we going to build a tight horsepower track, or are we going to get some wheel speed up and let them spin?
You know, usually,
or is that
the horsepower track?
Is that the secret for this?
Yeah, usually our track is a horsepower track. The west track is cut down 4 or 5 feet, and it gets into some clay, and we've mixed some dirt with it. And usually it's a little more of a horsepower track. And then the east track, it's got a little more black dirt in it, and sometimes it's not quite as tight. But as the years go on, it's all getting mixed up, and they're both really good tracks.
Yeah. Well,
we want to we've got room for over a 400-foot hook. And so we want, we don't want to just pull 300 feet. We'd like to have the 350, 380, and then there's room if somebody gets 400 or better, But,
yep. Yeah, that's always entertaining to see tractors just sitting there blowing it out the gate.
Yeah.
And I know some fans are diehard 300 foot, but I know a lot of others and the Outlaw group in general, they'll run them. If the track's 400, they're going to run them 400 foot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, any other final remarks, people you need to thank for helping put this event on, and some final words of wisdom looking into this weekend?
I'm not sure what groups are lined up to help, or I'd name them out. Nikki and Tim Rashawn have kind of been lining that up, and we got a meeting tomorrow. I know they're still working with some groups, and Robert Cash, he always really helps us a lot with the pit parking. I know if I start naming names, I'll leave somebody out, but the Tim and Nikki do an awful lot. Jason Holmberg and the AAA clan out there, they do an awful lot, and it
takes a lot to put it on, and so many people behind the scenes are doing stuff. So everybody,
everybody.
Yep.
If we didn't have the guy at Sibley Orchard interested in us, we wouldn't have a place to have a pole. So we always got to help him out, make sure we can make his business better. He's got a fruit stand out front out there that he'll have open that day if somebody wants some fruit or something.
Well, that's great to hear. Folks, best of luck to you guys this weekend, both on the competition side, the weather side, and all in general putting an event on. I can't wait to see how things shake out up there, and hopefully everything runs really smooth for you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night, and until we meet again. There you go, folks. Ken and Sydney Summers with the Buckner truck and tractor pull up here in Sibley, Missouri at the Sibley Orchard. This coming weekend starts at 6, gates open at 3:30, and it's going to be a great event all the way around. Now let's switch gears a little bit. We're going to talk some diesel truck pulling with Skyler here. He's currently sitting number 1 in the Diesel 3.0 point series for the Outlaw Truck and Tractor Pulling Association. So we're going to bring him on here, and we're going to talk to him a little bit about how his season's going and how things are looking heading into the final couple rounds of this year. So Skyler, how's it going?
It's been going pretty good. I had a nice weekend off. Ain't been pulling the last couple of weeks, kind of been taking it easy.
Yep. You guys have had definitely a very, very busy season with the Outlaws. And it looks like you guys have also had a very successful season. Tell us a little bit about what has gone into the first 3 quarters of your season here.
Just looking at notes from the past years, trying to stay pretty consistent, not making no big changes. I've learned that through the years. And the truck's been running really good. Had some issues early on in the year with in the valve train. Got it lined out, some fresh injectors in it. Wisner turned out really well for us. Won all 3 nights.
Yeah.
That's very hard to do. So pretty happy with the way it's running.
Well, tell us a little bit about this truck here. I mean, it's a beautiful looking 2nd-gen Dodge. So tell us how you got this truck and what's kind of gone into it.
Well, I was in high school and I bought the truck, and it had the guy took the transmission out of it, and I should have put the transmission back in it and resold it, and I made a little money. But here we are. All that's left from the original truck's basically the cab. about 5 years or so, I built a whole new frame. I switched to common rail fuel injection. And after we got it lined out, it took a while to get it lined out, but we've done really well since we've made the switch.
So has this truck always been a 3.0, or have you stepped it up through the classes through a 2-inch, 2.6, and then a 3.0?
Well, I think I started in 2.8. It had the factory drivetrain. Then I went to 3.0 slotted. Then I could run a bigger rear end drop box. Really don't want to work on them in the driveline department because I work on vehicles every day. So
Yep.
I don't have time to be replacing ring gears and pinions and drive shafts or anything that could break. Really don't have no drivetrain issues out of it.
And that's great, because when you don't have to work on something, you're doing awesome. So, how you guys picked off those 3 wins there in Wisner, and how else has your season looked with that leading up to where you're sitting now in points?
We're in White Right. We did well the first night. The second night, believes when we started having the valve train issue. We ran it most of the season, and it just wasn't right. Couldn't get up there where we needed to be or used to running, and I decided I was going to put injectors in it. I thought at the end of last year that they were a little weak. So when I was tearing them apart, I had a valve bridge broke, and it had a flutter in it that I was kept hearing all year. So that valve bridge was definitely the flutter.
So do you do all of your own engine work?
Repairs. Patrick O'Brien at O'Brien Diesel Service actually builds it. Good friend uses Hart's turbo on it. Dynamite diesel injectors out of Idaho. It's got a Bosch computer on it for the EFI. Wagler cylinder head. So
looking at your truck here, how much is kind of, so to speak, I know you mentioned the cab and some of the bodies from the original truck, but how much in the engine department's actually from the original truck?
Not a single piece.
All of it's aftermarket and all prettied up.
Yeah. The blocks factory, the crankshaft factory, that's about it. They got a factory frame under them. But other than that, the cab's factory, but other than that, it's all about aftermarket parts.
Yep. I got a video of you here that I got off of your Facebook from, I believe it's your run there at Wisner. And so let's take a look at it, and then I'll have you tell me a little bit about it. So phenomenal run, that truck there. It just squatted, set, and went. What did it feel like?
The first 2 nights, I believe that was the second night, it just laid down amazing pass both nights. The third night, got a little bounce. Wasn't too proud of it, but I wasn't going to let out. I was going for the win, and it worked. But the first 2 passes were picture perfect. Felt great, and I knew they were up there both nights.
So after that first win the first night, did you just change nothing on the truck, or did you keep hunting for that next little bit?
No, we didn't change nothing. All 3 nights after the Iowa State Fair, we went there, gave one up, but I decided going to Wisner. We're going to try to win that this year. so I put a pretty aggressive setup in it, and it worked great first 2 nights. But the third night didn't work so well, but it ended up working.
Were the track conditions a little bit different the third night? Did they shift you over to a different track? What
Yeah,
kind
we're
of
on a different track, a different sled. So, but the first 2 nights we had it figured out on that track. So,
And that's great to hear. And now that's boosted you all the way up. You're leading over Megatron by 4 points, and you still have 5 events left to go. You'll be in Unionville, I believe, this weekend, and then a
yes.
couple more events after that. What are we looking at coming into this next week?
We're gonna check things over in the clutch department, make sure we're in adjustment there. But we've always done pretty well at Unionville. Would love to go to Buckner. The track's great. The trucks love it. Takes some horsepower.
Yep.
Bedford's the same way. It's a biting track. Would love for every track to be like that. Been a few years since I've been to Spencer, but I've been there. Sunday, I think we're going to pull during the day. I'm not sure how great the track will be during the day, but Lufkin, last 2 years I've won both days there. So kind of got that figured out. We'll go down there with the same setup in the truck and give it a whirl. Hopefully, the chase ain't as tight as it has been last year. So,
Yep.
it came down to the last pull. We were pulled back to back, and I got ahead of Jason.
So you're there out of California, Missouri, I believe. And
Yes, sir.
how far does that put you down to go into like Lufkin? How far is that down in there?
I believe it's 11 hours.
Is that your furthest event of the year?
Yeah. White Ride's a little closer. But yeah, that's definitely the
So
farthest one of the year.
Whitewright and Lufkin are sitting there battling it out for some of the farther ones. But
Yep.
those Texas guys are really good with how they treat you guys. So it makes it a little bit more bearable. Have you guys ran Outlaws most of the year, or do you guys jump around between some organizations?
I usually try to run both PPL and Outlaw. I actually missed the one of the hooks with PPL because of the valve train issue. So the last two at the end of the year before Bedford, I'm going to skip out on just because the distance.
Yep.
I don't want to make the trip.
And that would be
Cape
Western
Dorado.
Series.
Yep.
And what would be the two last events there for you guys?
Cape Dorado.
Okay, yeah,
2 days.
that's a ways down in there.
Yeah. Then the next night's Bedford on the southern side of Iowa, then Spencer.
Yep.
So a lot of travel.
Yeah. How many miles do you guys travel throughout a whole season?
Approximately 10 to 15,000 miles
Wow.
every year. So we travel quite a bit.
So looking at being in the 3.0 class, what would it take to bump up a class and go? What other classes? I know there's the world-renowned Diesel Supers, and that's quite a big step coming up from a 3.0. But if you were wanting to go up after the 3.0, where would you go?
The 3.6 class, we were actually talking about that yesterday. Really not many changes. Bigger charger and barred tires. Basically, bolt the turbo on and the computer and make the fueling adjustments and take her down the track.
Yep. How well does that common rail system work with the electronics on it?
It starts just kind of like your factory driving truck. It don't require any ether. It's really nice. I wasn't sure in the beginning, but after doing it, I wouldn't have it any other way.
You wouldn't go back?
No.
So if you weren't in a 3.0 diesel truck or a 3.6 diesel truck, what other class would you like to jump into?
Big pro stock tractor.
Big pro stock.
Yeah.
That seems to be between you and Summers and all those guys. It's always going towards the big pro stocks.
Yeah. I've done a little driving with the 4.1 and the 2.6 truck. There's a big difference between the 2.6 and the 3.0. Not much fun when you go down.
Yeah. Well, not trying to spoil your guys' whole combination, but about how much does a horsepower does a 3.0 truck make?
1,600 to 1,750 area.
Somewhere in there. And
Yeah.
that's still moving for a relatively mild stock block, stock crank. Relatively mild, but yet still a well-built motor. And then looking at it totally, there's not that much you have to do to jump between those, anywhere from 2.6 up to 3.6 with your different classes.
Yep.
So what's been some of your favorite events throughout this year? Either your most luck, and then what's treated you the best?
Wisner was definitely
Yep.
my best hooks of the year. Washington, Missouri. We had a lot of competition come out from east of the river. I learned a lot. And I was going to take that to the Missouri State Fair, but we got rained out.
Yep.
But them guys came down, kind of my teammates. We made some changes from night to night and improved. And we're going to take that to the State Fair, but got rained out. So I ended up taking it to Wisner and doing well with it.
Yeah, clearly. And I mean, to go 3 wins in a row, that's a feat inside of itself. That should be its own miniature point series inside of the whole grand scheme of things. So, how long have you guys been at this?
I believe I've been pulling for 23 years.
Wow. And has it always been in a diesel truck?
No, we started out with a 60/30 Pro Farm tractor, and they changed the cubic inch limits on us, so we got the truck.
Mhm.
And it's been quite a bit more competitive there through the years. So
Are your rule sets pretty comparable, jumping between organizations to where you don't have to be as concerned with building a group specific tractor?
yeah, they're the same rules from organization to organization.
And that makes it a lot easier to jump around and hit more hooks throughout the year.
Yep.
So this year you're leading the points. How's your previous years been? Have you guys rounded up a points championship, and how's everything shaping up?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I won last year the Outlaw points.
Yep.
I got second in PPL. Made a mistake the first hook of the year in PPL, and I really couldn't come back from it. I
Yeah.
did, but I had a good run last year. Won 7 in a row with PPL and Outlaw. That was a pretty good stretch. But the Outlaw pull came down to the points came down to the last pull of
Yeah.
the year, and at Lufkin, and snuck it out. But it's very competitive.
So what has gone into keeping this truck running at the top of the class all throughout the year?
A lot of dyno time, a lot of checking every week, getting it out of the trailer,
Yeah.
checking things over, making sure it's right. 95% of the work happens at the house. Just getting there and driving it, making sure there's nothing wrong before you take off. Do all this traveling, making sure you got a nice piece, competitive piece during the winter. Staying up on the updated turbos and injectors. Just trying to squeeze all the power out you can get.
How often does the turbo technology change with these classes? Or is something bigger and better coming out every single year? Or is there a little bit where you can fine tune a setup off of a Charger?
At least every year there's a new turbo out. And thought like 5 years ago they couldn't squeeze any more out of them, but they definitely have. So I don't know when the end will come, but
when the end will come. Whenever someone's checkbook doesn't get big enough to keep the R&D work up on them. Robert Miner would like to know, would you ever pull a Ford?
No. They don't. The Power Stroke engine is not very desirable.
No.
There's actually a 2.6 guy here. I think he may have won his first pull with a 2.6 truck with a Ford, which well deserved. So I would have gave up a long time ago on the combination.
That reminds me of Craig Dickey and the Cummins Killer on the National Series. They've worked with that truck so much. So let's go back to it. What shot you down the route of going with the Dodge?
I'm a mechanic, and I'm a second-gen Dodge fanatic. I like that body style. I'm kind of collector. I got a few of them in my garage. Low mile. Always liked that truck. It had the Cummins in it. Like I said, I work on vehicles for a living. Cummins is definitely my favorite engine to work on. And I stay pretty busy working on them. So that's, I guess, how I love to work on them is pulling. Started working on them when I was in high school, and I ain't really stopped.
I can fully agree with you on that. We have two trucks back here that are pristine second-gen Dodges, one with a 12-valve and a manual and the other with a 24-valve and an automatic. And they're phenomenal trucks, both with towing and fuel mileage. So I know where you're coming from on that. And you just don't have that many issues with them, if any.
No, they really are a good truck. There's not too many good ones left because they've all been beat on quite a bit, but they were a really good pickup truck.
Yeah. So you mentioned there day-to-day you're a diesel mechanic. Is that where all of this has started with going with the diesel truck, or do you think you would have gone a different way with building like you're seeing now with all these diesel drag racing trucks and some of the other forms of motorsports?
Yeah, the diesel truck really fit our business better than the tractor did because we work on vehicles. But I would love to pull a tractor if they opened up the rules where you could run electronic fuel injection in the tractor classes. But I'd be one of the first ones because I think it'd be really fun.
So tell us about your day-to-day with your diesel repair, and what do you work on? And if someone needs work, so to speak, what does that entail?
We do all kinds of mechanical repair, cars, diesels. Also got a 24-hour towing business. Do a lot of towing. Weekends, nights, all the time you want to be somewhere. My dad takes care of a lot of that when I'm out pulling. I appreciate that a lot. So, yeah, between towing and the mechanic business, we stay busy in this small town of 4,000 people.
Yeah. So you've been to all these great events and seen places all over the country. What has been some of your top events that you've been to, or what are some bucket list events that you go, that's an event that I'd really like to attend one of these days and pull at?
love to go to Bowling Green, Ohio, and just watch, but it's the same weekend as Wisner.
Yep.
I'd love to pull there. I had a machine that would fit the class, but I'd just like to go watch, and I'm going to do it someday. Shy Diesel
Yep.
used to like going out there when I was in Terre Haute. So, but Lufkin, it's a growing event. End of the
So,
year, the weather's nice down there.
yeah.
It's a big truck show. Uh,
Hmm.
got drag racing right beside it, so always something going on there to keep you busy during the weekend.
Yeah, exactly. What we'll swap sides of the spectrum here. What's an event that you've just never kind of had luck at, or has always been kind of you look at the place and go, okay, we finally need to get something figured out to do well here.
I struggle at Iowa State Fair. Just ain't figured
Just
it out.
just something about it. And I think every puller has there's just one place that you can't quite get your setup figured out. So I know your pain there with that. So
the
looking
Mis- the Missouri State Fair, we've done well there, but I've never won it, and that's probably the closest pull of for me,
yeah.
45 minutes. So I would really like to win that one of these years.
So you said you built the chassis under that truck. What kind of went into that?
Actually, Tad Ingram built the chassis out of Kentucky.
Okay.
So I dreamed it up and put it on paper, and he welded it together.
Well, clearly it's been working for you. So props to you on that.
Thank you.
So you got Unionville left to go. You got Bedford, Spencer, and Lufkin. Any changes we're making? Is the truck all tuned up and tip top shape, ready to go?
Just gonna check the clutch out this week. Ain't gonna make no drastic hero or zero changes. Just gonna try to do her thing and lay down the passes it's been putting down, and I think we'll do well.
So, is your guys' mentality going into these last couple events just kind of lay low and don't do anything superhero, or are we still gunning for the win every single night?
Yeah, we're not. We're just not gonna do nothing crazy, not unless it comes down to the end, and we got to roll the dice and
Yep.
do something out of different. But hopefully, it don't come down to that. But if it does, uh, we
You're
can make
ready
some.
to make it
We can
happen.
make some changes and probably be a hero or zero.
Yep. So, how long have you guys been pulling with this truck? I know you mentioned building it up from the ground up.
I think 5 years on this setup, but several years on the old frame and chassis and motor combination.
Yep.
Um, I can't. I don't know the exact years when I was pulling the tractor or started with the truck. But it's all been a learning process.
Yeah. So then that's always fun. You got to build the program. You can't just jump in. And I know some guys do and they make it work, but you got to learn along the way and take those baby steps to learn and build a vehicle to compete at such caliber. So looking at everything, you guys have had a phenomenal season here. And what some final things looking into the end of it? Is there anyone you need to thank coming in and just kind of round out the season?
Yeah, there's a lot of people I need to thank. Like I said, my dad keeping the tow trucks running while I'm out on the weekends pulling. Hart's Diesel for the turbo, always keeping me in the latest and greatest. Patrick O'Brien for the engine and dyno work. He does a great job. He really makes one run. I've had several friends help me, whether going, welding on it. All that's appreciative. It takes an army to keep this machine on the road.
Yep.
So there's a lot that goes into it.
And that's always great to hear. It's the family aspect, it's the community, it's the friends. That's what I truly enjoy about Poland, is seeing everyone come together. And even more so, it's the competitors too. Without them, you can't perform to the best of your abilities. So it's full circle.
Yeah, most definitely. Jason Wayman's made me push my program way harder, and I'd say the same to him. If we weren't so competitive, we wouldn't be where we are today.
Yep. And that's great to hear. So you guys got just a couple hooks left. You're rounding out your season. It's going to come to a close real quick. What are some final thoughts with putting the rubber stamp on this 2025 season, and what are we looking forward in the next year even?
Just going to try to go out and do what we've been doing all year to finish off this season. Hopefully we don't have to change too much up. Then we're going to get off and get on the dyno and see what we can find for next year. Like to do some turbo testing, and going to have to get the motor freshened up. We didn't refreshen it last year, so this is the second year on it, so it's due for a refresh.
And that's not terrible, I wouldn't hope, with those diesels, being that once you get under the body of these things, they're relatively easy to work on. And I know you have such a good experience with doing that. So I appreciate having you on here tonight. It's been a blast sitting here talking. Any final things before you sign off and we let you go for this evening?
I appreciate you having me. It was nice talking to y'all.
Yeah, it's always a blast. I love talking to pullers, and you being out of Missouri, we'll cross paths one time or another, and we'll sit down and we'll just shoot the wind. So I appreciate having you on here, Skyler.
All right.
And best of luck on the rest of your season.
Thank you.
There you go, folks. Skyler Leaper, leader of the Outlaw Truck and Tractor Poland 3.0 diesel truck class. That great guy there, and what a phenomenal season he's had. So best of luck to him and his whole crew on finishing out strong for the rest of their year. As for that, we've got a lot of big Poland events coming up this weekend, as we talked kind of there at the beginning of the show. We've got Sandwich, Illinois on the Outlaw side. And then we got Unionville, which we heard him talk about a little bit, where he's pulling at. And then you've also got Buckner this weekend, which we talked there with Ken and Sydney Summers. So those are going to be two great events here on the Missouri side of stuff. So we got Missouri, we got Illinois, and then we got another Illinois hook down there in Nashville with the Pro Poland League rounding out their point season on most of their Champions Tour classes. So there's going to be no shortage of entertainment. So if you're around to any of these events, get out and go to an event, because it will be a fun time no matter what. And these pullers love to pull in front of a crowd. So if you can get out this weekend, it will be a great weekend, great weather all across the country. So with that, we're going to call it on that. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. It has always been a blast sitting here and interviewing these phenomenal pullers from across the country. So until next weekend, same time, let's grow pulling.
Today, today. One chocolate today.
If you're at a national state level, you have to run non-sales, wholesale.
Is 9,000.
The only mistake I made, I didn't put her rate in the registration book with the
Just this ever-evolving story. And